Have you ever wanted to have a good, healthy relationship that lasts? This is the first in a three-part series. In this video, we will look at different areas for building lifelong exclusive marriages. In my life, I've had the privilege of knowing many people who have had lifelong marriages who are also happy in their marriage. This includes those with and without children. I've been married a long time myself. In my desire to keep things balanced and fair, there are things for everyone, things for men, things for women. On anything to do with women, I have consulted my wife to ensure good quality ideas. I realised I couldn't create a balanced view on things if I only dealt with the guys. In this video, we are looking at the most essential thing for finding a spouse, the filter you have for rejecting people who will be bad to marry. In this video, we look at 5 areas: why the filter, where you search, prioritisation, appearance and interest, good decision making. The first thing we will consider is why improving the filter for finding someone is so important. It is not for the people you are not interested in where the right filter is needed. It is for the people you are most interested in where the filter is needed the most, because charm is deceptive. People can get into bad situations when they would give up their normal standards because of how much they are interested in someone. After ensuring you yourself are ready to be a good spouse for someone else, the next most important thing is ensuring you have a good filter to filter out the people you might like but are not interested in marriage, like you are. People who could be very attractive but would be harmful because of their own bad psychological state, e.g. someone who is sociopathic. People talk about risks of getting married. A man could take all of a woman's things, a woman could take all of a man's things, so prenups, postnups, make sure you have an exit strategy just in case. All of these plans are based on the notion of preconceived distrust. Distrust never makes a good basis for any relationship. Would you want to be entering a lifelong commitment with someone who is already starting from the basis of not trusting you? So then, do you have a good enough filter to tell between the trustworthy and the untrustworthy? Is it possible? Yes, because it has been done for generations. Finding someone trustworthy for lifelong marriage is the biggest safeguard for marriage. We'll look at the issue of where you search. Men, do you feel like you keep getting the same sort of women? Women, do you feel like you keep getting the same sort of men? The first consideration for filtering out people you don't want is ensuring you search amongst groups of people where the people you like are. Many people may only experience short-term strategies on dating apps or through socials. To expand your search, try taking up a hobby, joining meetups on various topics. Try something you are interested in to expand the range of people you meet. The great thing about a hobby or interest is when you come across someone you like who is also single, you have a starting point for something in common. The important principle here is if you keep getting the same type of wrong person looking in the same place, change where you search. The other part of this is who you are attracted to. If you change location and you still find you are choosing to meet with the same type of person, getting into the same type of relationships that don't work, leaving you hurt and broken, then you are probably ignoring the type of person who would be good for you. Sometimes that can be tied to emotional baggage, things which a therapist could help with. In this, it might mean having to change your selection criteria for who you meet with. Next, we'll talk about prioritization. What you believe about relationships and lifelong marriage will impact your ability to find relationship success. If you think you will forget about finding someone and focus on your career, then you lessen your chances of finding something that works. If you would want a marriage and or some children, then you need to actually make time for searching for the right person and also actually learning what it means to be a good spouse. People think having a great career will give them the best security. Historically, security was found in spouse, children, family, tribe, and then nation. Is a boss who is only interested in the job you're doing for as long as they need it going to be anywhere near as secure as a person who loves you and wants good for you? The least secure person near the end of their life is a single person who has retired, who is alone. The most secure person has a spouse, children, grandchildren after a career. To have had a good career and good relationships, you have to prioritize good relationships because your career will already be taking up a lot of time anyway. If you want to become a good quality spouse, that a quality spouse would consider. When actually on a date, prioritize focusing on that situation to both find out about the other person and talk about yourself. If you go to a place feeling entitled, only focused on yourself, unwilling to say anything, keeping an eye out for a better offer, you will miss out on good long-term marriage opportunities because your attention is elsewhere on things that won't bring that. Next, we will consider appearance and interest. How you dress, how you carry yourself will impact the other person's perspective on if something is short or long-term. So if a man and woman go to a restaurant for a date, the more the man is looking casual, lacking confidence, indecisive, then generally the less interested the woman would be. And the ones who are serious would just get up and leave. The ones who are not would stay for a free meal and then leave assuming the man is paying. The more a woman doesn't dress for the occasion and or is inauthentic, then the more she will waste time with the wrong person. Experiment with different levels of modesty so you understand how men react differently to them. How were the women dressing for dates who are happily married? Both newer and longer term married women. Next, we'll talk about good decision making. We'll talk about two main areas. One is about your own state when trying to get to know someone and then getting to know them. We can all make better or worse decisions based on our state of mind. So if you have not been physically intimate with someone, are sober, and have not taken any mind-altering substances, then your decision-making process will be far clearer than if you either had all of them, one of them, or a combination of them. Wanting to talk about what a person is like, trying to process your dating experiences, and getting advice is a good thing so long as you have the right audience. Just as you wouldn't go to an Insta model to fly an aeroplane, excluding a small number of exceptions. Getting advice from single friends who can't hold down relationships, who will likely be jealous of you in a relationship, and when you have taken their advice, you have ended up being single after, is not a good source. Neither are friends of the opposite gender, even when you grow up with them and consider them more like a brother or sister, because you never know if they see you the same as you see them, if they are not biologically related. When it comes to family, you want to have people who have been happily married for a long time to give you advice. If you have people who you trust who are decent, they don't have to be your literal mother and father, just in more of a reliable paternal role. If you have an aunt or uncle who has been married a long time and they have a good relationship, the other source of good information may well not be family related at all. Particularly if you are from a messed up family, then find people who are in long-term and happy marriages. Both of those criteria need to be met to have a good source of advice. One red flag: be wary of someone in a relationship who wants you to remove people who are dependable, who can give you good advice. This is not the same as someone who is not happy about you being involved in things which make you look like you're single, e.g. joining a single friend to participate in speed dating when you're in a long-term relationship with someone. Every good long-term relationship should have three aspects: things you do alone, things you do with your spouse or partner if you're not married, things you do with others. Part of good decision making should include, is the person willing to serve you as much as you are willing to serve them outside of any physical connection? Strong marriages require both people to be willing to serve the other person. Can you both forgive one another? No one is perfect, but can you give each other forgiveness within the non-negotiable boundaries you have? As part of good decision making, the next filter we will talk about is getting to know a person well. This is one of the greatest protectors for finding a good spouse. We previously talked about mental clarity. The big thing to know is if there is any major red flags, strong emotional involvement, or substances can help to be okay with, ignore, or not see red flags. So over the course of multiple dates are things you want an understanding on. The end goal: marriage and children, marriage and no children, never getting married, etc. Approach to finances, religion, morals, ethics, culture, hobbies and interests, likes and dislikes. One of the things you want to discuss is the dating process. Are you both dating, looking for a potential spouse? What relationship boundaries do you want to have? There is a difference between relationship boundaries and being controlling. It is worth having the discussion of where you think that line is as part of your relationship boundaries conversation. As an extension of the end goal of a dating process, it will feature things like religion, politics, morals, ethics, culture, worldview. This is essential to understand for long-term stability. How you view these things can have a big impact on the type of arguments you have, relationship expectations, and boundaries. Religion or no religion can play a large part in compatibility, relationship expectations, and it can act like a template for starting with similar expectations, e.g. two people who attend the same religious building could have the same teaching on relationships. The morality a person has is very important because things like, is someone trustworthy with the things they say, do they lie easily, will have a big impact on the kind of life you could live with someone. Politics is something that there might be more leeway with to disagree on, assuming you can separate political discussion times by agreeing to disagree and giving each other a break. This will depend on how much something is closer to a lightly held opinion versus something closer to religious zeal. Culture is a massive factor, so there are two elements with this. There is the context of the family environment someone grew up in, and there is the broader cultural environment. With all of these things, if you want to see how the person not only treats you, but also people in their family, your friends and family, this is where, if you have someone you trust in a more paternal maternal role, and you are starting to be a bit more serious about the person you're in a relationship with, asking them both to meet up and later finding out what the person you trust thinks of your partner could be helpful. If someone treats you amazing, but everyone else like dirt, then run, run, run. It doesn't matter how good looking they are, how they make you feel. Someone who is a decent human being will be consistently a good human being in multiple contexts. Another area over multiple meetups is to discuss approach to finances. Do you just go with the flow? Are you someone who is more of a planner and budgeter? What financial values do you have? What issues do they have? This is a conversation for when things are a bit more serious, but the approach you both have to money is important to have, because not being on the same page can be like bringing a tornado through the middle of a relationship. Finally, understand the likes and dislikes of a person. Do they feel more loved by compliments, spending time together, physical touch or service? Is there anything they like or don't like that seems unusual? Finding a good long-term relationship can be a really good path to improving a person's lifestyle and part of their personal growth. I hope you have good outcomes as I have had. Birds of a feather, we grow together.